The following is a paid program by Zola Levitt Ministries. Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to God for Israel is that they might be saved. For there is no difference between the Jew and the Greek, for the same Lord over all is rich unto all that call upon him. Zola Levitt presents
Shalom, Miles and Catherine bringing you a special report from Jerusalem.
We've just come through a momentous season, Miles.
Yeah, three major events. We had during the Feast of Esther, which is a remembrance of the deliverance of the Jewish people from evil arising out of Persia. Benjamin Netanyahu came and spoke to the U.S. Congress about the evil arising out of modern-day Persia, Iran, and now we've had the long-awaited Israeli elections.
Yeah, and we are going to take you now to let you hear from the people's heart in Israel how they feel about their prime minister.
We're here in Ein Kerem. It's a artist colony, an upscale suburb of Jerusalem. It's Shabbat morning, Saturday morning, and we've been speaking with some of the Israeli residents here to get the wide range of opinions regarding this momentous election that has just taken place. You know, Israel is a small country, smaller than the size of New Jersey, and yet all the world is interested in what goes on here. All the world is watching Israel because it has a central part to play in the history of the planet, and especially in the spiritual history of the planet. And as you know, our program is often pointing you to the fact that as the headlines unfold, what's really going on behind the scenes is the outplaying, the outworking of the story of God on planet Earth, with Israel at the center so often. We spoke to some people about their disappointment or elation regarding the Israeli elections.
As far as I'm concerned, I'm satisfied about the results of the elections. I voted for the right party of Benjamin Netanyahu.
I'm not surprised with the results of the elections.
Are you happy with the outcome of the election?
Not really.
Basically, yes.
Big disappointment.
I'm quite disappointed.
The candidate who won is not the one that I would have wanted to win.
טוב מאוד.
She say Bibi good for the Israel. I say it's not good for the Israel.
We wanted to change the government.
I think we want to change. I think we wanted to change.
Because I wanted a change. I wanted something different here in Israel.
Yes. I believe that in Israel we need a left government, okay?
I think we wanted new hope in different areas, in social areas.
Personally, I'm not happy because it's not my side. I put my voice to the other side, but it's democratic.
We have an absolute true democracy in this country.
This is what the people voted for, so it's...
I'm happy that it's a democracy. I think our people has a short memory.
Something different, you know, bring hope to the people, maybe try do something with the Palestinians about talking, negotiation, anything that can make some progress here.
I would have hoped that a dialogue with the Palestinians would start again.
The peace talks are not in place at all. I mean, it's very unfortunate that we continue to be terrorized and talk with guns and rockets instead of words.
As you may have heard us say before, Amos 9:15 speaks about the Jewish people coming back to the mountains of Samaria, never to be uprooted again. And wow, is that a central issue here? Because people believe that leaving the so-called West Bank, which is the heartland of Israel, the mountains of Judea and Samaria, that if Israel will leave, that would open the door for peace. The West Bank, it's the heart of ancient Israel. The Judea and Samaria, all the history of Israel takes place there.
Yeah, it's history. It's not belong to this time.
And so do you believe that two states living side by side in peace is possible?
Absolutely, yeah.
Do you believe that there should be two states in this area?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
An Arab state and a Jewish state?
Yeah.
Totally.
So you don't believe a two-state solution is possible?
No.
Do you think they are a real partner for peace?
I don't know. I don't know.
I believe most of the people in the country, and I believe even Jew and Arab, want a peace.
I think it's very unfortunate that a lot of Palestinians are living in this state, and I think they deserve to have their own country and deal with their political issues apart from Israel.
I wouldn't mind calling Judea and Samaria the Palestinian authorities, so long as I know that if I will do this step as Israel, I will be able to visit there and I will have peace. But unfortunately, as the situation with Gaza was, we left there. The only request we had is for silence, not even peace. We just went out of Gaza Strip and we said, give us silence, that's all. You have border with Israel, we support you with electricity, we support you with water. Just leave us alone. And it didn't happen. So would I trust that if we leave Judea and Samaria and go out of there, we would have peace? Well, you can fool me once, not twice.
Many of the people here they just want peace. You hear that theme over and over again. We just want peace, we want peace. And they're not sure how that will happen. Some say, on the one hand, they've been interested in the other side taking the election from Benjamin Netanyahu, and yet they're also happy that he is in place because he will be a secure and strong leader.
We think Netanyahu is a true leader.
He's very charismatic. He has a way of speaking to people.
He's very charismatic. He is very stable. He has his own opinions, and he pushed us. And for the better and for the worse, he was a leader.
But personally, I believe that Mr. Netanyahu knows how to do it better.
What pushes me to vote for the right side is that I'm quite satisfied with what happened security-wise. Especially that we don't have to apologize about our being here, that this is our country, and for me, I believe Mr. Netanyahu is representing what I think about it. And bottom line, my opinion, if you start to apologize, you don't know where it finishes. So we have to make a statement, we're here, this is our place, deal with it.
But the government in America, they want to control the government in Israel. I don't know why. And I think the situation between Obama and Bibi, now it's like separate. That because Bibi is a strong leader. He's a leader. To come to the Congress third time and he just put a finger to to Obama. He put finger outside to Obama and said, listen, I'm here. I'm tell what I want to tell, and you can do whatever you want. But I tell the world what you want to do with Iran. And this is a leader. A leader who don't afraid is a leader.
Do you think the contention with Iran is going to be solved by the United States' current approach or Netanyahu's approach?
Oh, I don't know too much about your elections, but I do trust the United States government and its relationship with the State of Israel. So I don't have any doubts that our leadership and your leadership will get together and do the right thing.
Is there hope here in Israel that Israel and America will come back together in the future?
More 2 years after
2 years.
After Obama leave the White House, I believe that it's come back. Whatever you have in America, Democrat, Republican, but they work together. They work together because Israel is it's so much important to American government and American people. It's like a little daughter, and you don't put your little daughter outside the door.
people are comparing Bibi Netanyahu to Winston Churchill.
Yeah.
Because of that strength.
A strong man.
Yes.
There is no... Putin is a leader, he doesn't fade. Margaret Thatcher was a leader, she doesn't fade. Bibi is a leader. I'm not sure about Obama.
Everyone we spoke to is interested in a strong relationship between America and Israel. They're concerned about the current state of that relationship, but hopeful for the future. In fact, you can hear in the theme of what they say, their understanding of Genesis 12, 1 through 3, that God will bless those who bless the Jewish people, curse those who curse the Jewish people, and they recognize that America has been a great blessing to Israel, and they're hopeful it will be that way in the future.
What right does Israel have to her land? What would you say if you were asked? In this week's resource, Israel's Right to the Land, you'll read 12 astounding facts that will silence all objections. Calling it accurate, fair, and scripturally authoritative, Zola Levitt recommended this booklet written by Dr. David Hocking. Call 1-800-WONDERS or go to levitt.com.
Hello, I'm Wayne Fournier, and I've been a supporter of Zola Levitt Ministries for many years. If you see this outreach as worthy of your financial support, please call us at 1-800-WONDERS. Visit us online at levitt.com or write to us at Zola, Box 12, 268, Dallas, Texas, 75225. We depend on your financial sustenance. Thank you.
You know, our program has had the privilege of speaking with many of the prime ministers of Israel.
Yeah, and we have some great footage of interviews with Bibi Netanyahu himself. We'd like to show those to you right now, so let's go to those videos.
Strike me personally as a character like Nehemiah or one of these governors of Israel that insisted to rebuild the place. And the scripture actually points out they had a brick in one hand and a sword in the other. And it's almost, I see the cranes and I see the soldiers.
But today there's a different method of attacking. Today, the principal battle against Israel is not the battle of bullets or even the battle of bombs, although we have plenty of those being launched against us. The principal method applied by the enemies of the Jewish people and of Zionism and of the Jewish state is slander and is lies. That's what they do.
Yes.
Yet we know today that had there been a state of Israel, there would not have been a Holocaust. And had there not been a state of Israel after the Holocaust, the Jewish people would simply have disintegrated into lack of identity and with a lack of a pulsating live center, the Jewish people have disappeared. So to the extent that the Jewish people live, it is because of the ingathering that has taken place here.
I know there are attempts to divide the city. It is done sometimes directly, sometimes obliquely, sometimes by challenging our rights to build apartments, for God's sake, in our city. Apartments. But I want to assure you today, we will never allow Jerusalem to be redivided again. Ever, never. We will keep Jerusalem united, and we will keep Jerusalem open and accessible for unfettered worship for all Christians and Muslims and Jews. And we shall never resurrect those ramparts. If we allow terrorism to prevail, that if we make concessions to appease terrorists, we will be like those of whom the prophet Jeremiah said, he described them as saying, peace, peace, when there is no peace. Well, we want there to be peace.
And if you said to the American people, you said, well, for the sake of peace, to give you an equivalent analogy, why don't you give up the Rocky Mountains to some terrorist organization committed to the destruction of America, and why don't you put in half of Washington, D.C. on your side of the Potomac to boot? You think the American people would go for it? Of course not. In other words, quite apart from the biblical patrimony, there is the natural association of any people to its own homeland. In the case of the Jews, this association goes back to biblical times. It goes back 3,500 years. It's an attachment that has no parallel in the history of nations. No people has fought so long against all the great empires of the world, has lost so much, has been scattered to the four corners of the world, has fought its way back against terrible odds to reestablish itself.
I think the most important thing that you have to recognize is that terrorism is not an incidental attack. It's a deliberate and systemic attack driven by ideology. And in this case, today, it's the militant Islamic ideology. The second thing is that terror seeks to terrorize, to instill fear. So the antithesis of fear is courage, and you need the courage to resist it, to fight back. If militant Islamic terrorist states like Iran acquire the weapons of mass death, you can almost ask, when was the last time that a global militancy, a doctrine, a fanatic doctrine that seeks to conquer the world, met up with nuclear weapons? It is possible that the only comparison that we can make of this danger, of this terrorist fanatic mentality acquiring weapons of death, is the attempt 60 years ago by Hitler and Nazism to acquire atomic weapons. And you know that history would have taken a far different course if that happened. So this is something that must be stopped.
To wrap it up, I want to ask you only about the future, if you can say, your own and Israel's. What sense do you have of what's going to happen?
My own future is irrelevant. The future of Israel is relevant. And I think this means that we'll have a good chance of forming a future government that would seek a genuine peace, a peace based on security, and a peace based on the truth, on the Jewish people's right to this minimal speck of land, a dusty strip at the edge of Asia, where the Jewish people can come back and live again in peace and in security with its neighbors.
We are so grateful that you sent us here so that you can hear right from the heart of the people of Israel. Miles will be back with more after this.
For insightful perspectives on Israel and Bible prophecy, ask for our free monthly newsletter, The Levitt Letter. At levitt.com, you can read the newsletter, watch the TV program, or visit our online store. Stay current with us on social media via Facebook and Twitter. Come with us on a tour of Israel or Petra, or a cruise to Greece and Ephesus. Please contact us for more information.
Jeremiah 16, Ezekiel 36 and 37 speak about the return of the Jewish people to this land, the restoration of the people to the land, populating the entire area that they're now existing in, plus a greater Israel to come. And yet the battle from the outside world and from the immediate neighborhood is against Israel having the freedom to stay here. The people that we spoke to have a wide variety of opinions about that, but they are pretty sure that the leadership of the Arab people and the education that the little children are getting are impediments to peace in this land.
As we've seen, a lot of Palestinian children are born into a situation where they must hold guns by the time they're 10. And they are shown a lot of hate movies against the Israelis, portraying Israelis as demons and as the enemy. And they see blood in their eyes, and they learn that sacrifice is the only way. That if they will sacrifice their life, if they will fight, then they will be sacred.
I don't think all the Arabs teach their children to hate us, as well as not all the Israeli teaches their children to hate Arabs.
The vast majority of people on both sides are peace-loving people who just want to put food on the table for their kids, and I trust that we have strength in our people and in our armies. If anybody doesn't want to cooperate, we know how to handle it, so I'm not worried about that.
You have suicide kindergarten camps for 3- and 4-year-old Palestinian boys and girls, teaching them the doctrine of hate with a culture of death, that this regime that preaches to its people policide, the doctrine of destruction, the destruction of a state, using the technique of suicide, self-immolation, this regime has to go.
مصرعي ولكني أسرع إليه الخطى أشبال منتصرين أسلاح مدربين.
What about the other side? What about Fatah? Do you think they want peace?
The people maybe want peace. I'm not sure about the leader.
I think it's on their leaders. I think Israel are trying to change the point of view of the Palestinians.
There's no other way other than peace way. And Netanyahu, as much as he's a leader, he does things his way or the highway.
Okay. And probably what we have to correct most is the inbred sentiment of some of our people to try to doctor up reality, to try to think that if you placate your enemies, they'll be nice to you. No, not if they're Hezbollah, not if they're Hamas, not if they're Iran, not if they're Hitler. You don't placate people who are implacably opposed to your existence and who seek to exterminate you. What you do is you stand up to them, you resist them, you fight them. In fact, you defeat them.
It's quite amazing that so much of the theme is the seeking of peace. And when I ask if the other side, if they believe the Arab side is also seeking that, they say the people are, but maybe not the leadership. And it reminds me of the biblical scriptures that speak about peace, peace when there is no peace. Everyone's looking for peace and safety. But when I pressed some of them, they really did admit that the Islamic ideology that is fueling the politics of the area does not leave room for peace because it is an ideology, religion so-called, of conquest.
We've seen that Israel did not react instantly when the rockets attacked. Yeah, because there is the whole political issue, it's very, very delicate. Europe is watching us, America is watching us, China is watching us, everyone is watching over us. And if should we raise a hand on the Palestinians, we are Goliath in that case. And they are the small, puny David. They are anti-Western civilization, but they are very diverse. They are working each in their own point of way, like an octopus with 8 tentacles, but each tentacle is one in its way. They cannot talk with each other, so why would they talk with us?
You should see some of the things they show on these channels, like Al Jazeera, the vilest concoctions of lies. You cannot imagine it. Now you have millions watching this abomination, these lies, and absorbing them. And it is coming from these pulsating centers in Iran and Saudi Arabia and a few others.
And we cannot live like that for a long time, and with this hate between us and with this separation. So we need to do things. And I think one of them is just to start talking, start doing coexistence stuff between us.
The problem with Iran and Daesh and the Palestinians, okay, it's just stories.
The president of Iran says that he's going to destroy Israel. I think we should listen to him. I heard a Holocaust survivor being interviewed in one of the European journals a few months ago. And they asked him, what is your main lesson from the Holocaust? And he said, my main lesson from the Holocaust is that when somebody says that he's going to exterminate you, believe him. Well, I believe the president of Iran. We should prevent this tragedy from happening. By the way, the lesson of history is that these mad ideologies may begin with attacks on the Jews, but as in the case of Nazism, it only begins there. It then engulfs the rest of the civilized world. So I think this is a replication. It's a replication of Nazism, this time along militant Islamic lines, but the hatred is both to the Jewish people and to our free Western civilization, which they find abominable, something that has to be wiped out. We just happen to be the first Satan. The U.S. is the big Satan. Europe is a middle-sized Satan, but many of them haven't figured it out yet. They're also on the list.
Tom, you've been in Jerusalem for 28 years, working with the Jewish people, with the Arab people, bringing the Spirit of the Lord to them. And as I interview people, they don't seem to make the spiritual connection with this recent election. How do you feel about Bibi getting reelected?
Well, I think it was a miracle that God answered the prayers of people that were praying that he would turn his people towards his purpose, that they would vote for the purpose of God. And I believe that God's purpose has been accomplished in this election, that the re-election of Bibi Netanyahu as the prime minister and a strong Likud party and a strong right standing together. And this is, I believe, where God's heart is, because we know that we don't want to see another Iran. And so Bibi's been standing very strong, speaking to the Congress in the United States that they would not allow another nuclear holocaust coming against Israel. We believe there will not be a Islamic Palestinian state that would emerge in the heart of Israel, which could bring great destruction to Israel, that Israel is learning from what happened when they withdrew from Lebanon and Hezbollah came in, they withdrew from Gaza, Hamas came in, and now ISIS is all over the Middle East. So thank God that he's been elected and that there's a strong government center-right that we believe will stand, that Judea and Samaria would remain the heartland of Israel, and that many Jews now are making Aliyah from the Ukraine, from France. More will make Aliyah from the United States, from all over the world, so that Judea and Samaria can be strengthened with Jewish presence. And we know that God's heart is also for the Arabs. He wants to see Jews and Arabs reconciled to himself and reconciled to each other, worshiping him together as a blessing in the midst of Israel and in the middle of the earth.
There you have it from the people of Jerusalem, their opinion about their prime minister. We're elated that he has another term in office. We know what this will mean for the world. We know what this will mean for Israel. And it's God's hand of protection against the evil plans of the enemy. And it's his sovereign will is coming in.
Oh man, you know, we want to stay connected with you regarding the outflow of this story. So keep with us with the Levitt letter, the personal letter, on the web and through the television program. And please, always remember, Shalom, Shalom Yerushalayim.
Pray for the peace of Jerusalem.
Our monthly newsletter, The Levitt Letter, is free and full of insightful articles and news commentary from a messianic perspective. Visit Levitt.com to find our newsletter, along with current and past programs, our television schedule, and much more. Don't forget to order this week's resource by calling 1-800-WONDERS, or you can purchase it from our catalog at Levitt.com. Your donations to Zola Levitt Ministries help these organizations bless Israel. Please remember, Zola Levitt Ministries depends on tax-deductible donations from viewers like you.
This has been a paid program brought to you by Zola Levitt Ministries.